It's May, and we start the show with some.
It's so weird.
I mean, it's May. Like it's May. It's here.
It's gonna be May.
And we start the show with some shenanigans and life updates, and then we finally get into our point. And Alana is singing. What is that?
It's NSYNC. When Justin Timberlake goes, "It's gonna be May," he's saying me,
not May. But
right.
She thought it was May.
There's so many gifs about it. I need for you to get with the times, bruh.
I'm out.
Ugh.
Tune in. Thanks, guys.
Perfect.
Welcome to the Mizell Show.
An inspiration for a new generation.
Hi, I'm Alana Mizell, a loving mother of two, a devoted wife to Steven, and an entrepreneur helping women realize their dreams and potential.
And I'm Steven Mizell, caring father of two, a devoted husband to Alana, and a driving force to help young men prepare for life after college football.
And if that wasn't enough, we're a biracial couple.
She was raised in the North, but I was raised in the South.
The only thing normal about our lives, who am I kidding? It's never normal around here. Join us for the Mizell Show.
Right now. Hello. I don't know. Does it always sound like this?
It sounds better now.
No?
It doesn't.
Like we hear ourselves in our headphones, which I think it does sound better now.
I can't usually hear myself.
Really?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. It's been a while. This is what happens when you don't do a podcast in 3 weeks. But life happens.
So a few minutes ago, I just had a bonnet on my hair.
Oh my goodness.
And Steven says, "You're going to put that on right now?" First of all, our daughter wears one every single night.
So when does Adele put her bonnet on, though?
When she gets her pajamas on.
Like
it was on the whole time. She was just chilling on
and then
the
she gets
couch.
in bed like within 10 minutes. I thought you were saying that you're shutting the night down and like I'm putting my bonnet on.
No,
like,
no, bruh.
bye, bruh.
No, bruh. You were trying to check me
on the
fact that I needed a bonnet for my curls.
No, I have no
to keep
problem
them intact.
with your bonnet. I saw the bonnet as signaling me to like, bruh,
that's not
we done for the night.
That's not what had happened.
No, that's what I think internally happened.
I'm about to wear the bonnet all the time to signal nothing ain't happening with you, bruh.
That's the thing. You know, I saw the bonnet. I thought you just shutting the whole night down. I thought you got a bonnet on. She's just done. I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm cool. I didn't want to hang out with you and snuggle and watch a Netflix movie and just.
How much more cozy is my hair under the wrap of a bonnet versus slushing in your face?
But you love me rubbing my hands through your hair.
You don't do it right.
I do it all the. Jeez, tell me something new about it. You know. Dang. Clearly, I've been slacking these days. Almost spilled your decaf coffee.
My decaf coffee.
Decaf coffee.
Okay, but seriously, we didn't get on here to talk about my bonnet.
No, we got on here.
Although we did a little bit.
We did talk about it, but that just gives people
kidding.
the perspective
I'm just kidding.
Of in our lives.
No, May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
I feel like every month
we talk about
something.
mental health.
No.
Every month
we don't need a month to celebrate mental health.
Dude, your burp stinks.
Oh my gosh.
Bruh.
I don't understand. What is in your coffee? Maybe you're having caffeine withdrawals.
I am. You guys, okay. Step one. This has directly to do with mental health. So there's a ton of studies that talk about pulling back on caffeine for your anxiety and depression. Mm-hmm. Specifically like clinical depression.
I'm going to keep drinking this drink and I'm probably going to burp again. So
what's in that?
It's a juicy juice.
Is that purple drink?
Yes, May is mental.
Spit that out.
May is mental health awareness month.
And one of the biggest things that can help your anxiety and your depression, outside of fitness and things like that, is caffeine intake.
Yeah.
How much caffeine do I typically intake?
I think on the peak of your life.
Let's go. No, not the peak of my life. We are not going there.
I'm not on peak. So what I have seen. So you tend to like beverages to keep you warm and cozy. Like that's your mood. That's your mode. Mm-hmm. I will say this: working from home has probably increased your caffeine intake because it's readily available. And you're like...
Yeah, but I've
just
been
saying,
working from home for 3 years.
No, but like working from home in this atmosphere is different from working from home.
That's true.
And so now you sitting through meetings and like doing your new job, I've seen you hit a little caffeine for your pre-workout. You're not a heavy pre-workout. You kind of dip and dab in that. So
I'm like a half scooper.
Half scooper.
So that's like a half a cup of coffee.
Half a cup of coffee.
And then I come home and I drink a full cup of coffee.
A full cup of coffee. Then if you're at home that day, you would then get another cup of coffee when you sit down at your desk at 8.
Yeah.
Then if you have a 10 o'clock meeting, between the 10 o'clock and the 8, you will come back and get another cup of coffee.
We'll get another cup.
Yes.
Full calf. So
then at lunch, you have a protein coffee shake. A protein coffee shake at lunch.
Yeah. That's
and then
full calf.
At 3 o'clock,
I'll have another one.
Another one. And then after the kids go to bed, you have another one.
Not caffeinated coffee. Sometimes. Not very. Recently, I've been pulling back on that late night.
I'm just saying your peak caffeine day. I've seen
my
it
peak
before.
caffeine day. It's worse than that. It's just steady flow.
It's a steady flow.
So probably 7 to 8 cups of coffee.
7 to 8 cups of coffee peak.
So, but normally I have pre-workout, coffee after that, coffee on my way to work, coffee at 2. So that's 4 cups of coffee.
Yeah.
Y'all, today I had 1 cup of coffee.
She had 1 cup of coffee. That was at 6 a.m. after her workout. And that was it.
So this caffeine headache is no joke.
So we're going to congratulate a lot of people getting on this podcast.
My threshold for caffeine is so high. Oh, and some days I'll drink Diet Coke, which has caffeine in it.
Oh, you do drink a Diet Coke.
On top of all of those cups of coffee.
Yeah, all the stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And so when we talk about mental health, there's so many things that we feel that's very important about mental health. And I'm just going to be honest with everybody. I did not learn about mental health until I met Alana. I had no clue about...
Explain that a little bit.
Like, I had never...
So what was before, pre-Alana, what was your... Like, what did you think mental health was?
So, I'm dating myself here, but it's okay. I'm getting finer like wine.
Like a wise old owl.
Oh, no,
how many licks does it take to get to the center of it?
You're aging yourself. That commercial's old.
That's fine.
Okay, so...
That's quality television.
I met you at what, 26, 27? Somewhere around there. So, the first, I would say, the 16 years of my life, from age 10 to meeting Alana, I never heard of mental health or anxiety.
You never heard of anxiety before that?
I kid you not.
Oh.
Until I met you,
yeah, and
you introduced me to a whole new realm of not just you struggling, but like other people, and then opened my eyes to like, oh, that's what was going on with that, or that's what was taking place in college, and I had no idea, or even maybe something that I struggled with. I'd be like, oh, that was that breakdown.
Right. So when you found out that I was on anxiety medication when we were dating, I remember what you said, but what did you think about it?
I mean, I felt... I'm going to be honest with you. I thought I could help you get off of the medication based on the, I guess the foundation or the normalcy I was trying to bring to your life.
Stability?
Stability. That's the word I'm looking for. Stability.
So, okay, so wait. We're talking 11 years ago. You immediately thought of something you could fix to make me better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was trying
thinking
to fix
you were Jesus.
Day one. Yeah. No.
Brother thinking he Jesus.
I mean, I don't want to say that, but it's the fact that when you see...
Yes, you do!
No, I didn't think I was Jesus, but when you see something...
No. But something that somebody that you care about, you want to be able to be that beacon of light for them.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, I slid in your DMs and met you when you were kind of dating a terrible person. So
absolutely,
it sets up the piece of wanting
absolutely. Yeah, that wasn't why I had anxiety though. It was because I was president. But I mean, I've had anxiety since I was 11 years old. But I remember we went to a sermon. We went to church. We were going to church together, and our preacher at the time gave a sermon. It was really the first time that you and I really talked about it, openly talked about it, me and you. Gave a sermon about anxiety and, of course, reference, Matthew 6, where he talks about cast all your worries, yada, yada, yada. And faith of a mustard seed, and said something along the lines of, if you truly believe in God and pray towards our Heavenly Father, you will not have anxious thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so post that scenario, Stephen and I were talking about it. I'm going to tell you, we were in the parking lot of a Walgreens, y'all.
Yeah.
And Stephen was like, no, I definitely think that that's true. And I'm sitting there going, what? No, people literally have a mental chemical imbalance in their head. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't pick it. And he's like, no, I don't necessarily think that's true. I was like, oh, so you can pray your way out of being a diabetic? Here's a better example. So schizophrenics have swollen ventricles in their brain. Mm-hmm. And it can be a genetic thing that has a trigger scenario, or it can have always been there and you're born schizophrenic. So are you saying that they could pray their way through that?
Yeah.
And then what about those that have Parkinson's? That's to do with your dopamine receptors. Could you pray your way through that?
It also goes to the fact of like when you everybody has their own philosophy on holistic healing, medicine, doctors. Everybody has their own thing. But at the same time, we have to recognize that God gave the human knowledge to people to help you with a medication or help you with.
And just like we accept the fact that humans made social media, and just like we accept the fact that humans made these extravagant houses, these elaborate cars, and don't really think too much about it, we have to remember that humans also created the reality that our anxiety and depression has increased with the amount of societal pressure. Yeah. All of which was created by humans. Mm-hmm. But we don't put pressure on society for having body shame or lack of body, like all of the things that young girls go through and young men go through when they're, competing for athletic pressures or how they're treated like products. We don't address that. Yeah. We just say you shouldn't need anxiety medication. Well, if society had decided a long time ago or moving forward that we weren't going to put shame and blame and pressure and entertainment up on a pedestal, then maybe our anxiety and depression wouldn't be such a clinical situation.
Yeah. And I think that's something that, you hear the age-old saying of like, is mental health real? Or back in my day, XYZ, or whatever you have the whole song and story with everybody has their own perspective, but you have to tie in the access and the things that you are seeing now that back in your day or whatever, you never saw. Like you had no idea that things were happening here or next door or wearing this was something great. Because like there are people, for instance, with the body shame. We saw a documentary on Marilyn Monroe the other day. Yeah. There were people that had no access to TV or newspapers that had no clue what she looked like, so they didn't care. But nowadays, you can't.
Yeah, not only that, but even Marilyn Monroe at that point was body shamed because she was too curvaceous. Yeah. How about Kim Kardashian? Vogue just released an article about what Kim Kardashian did for the Met Gala, which talk about body shame. Like, Vogue, why would you even release that? That's another tangent for another day. There's a great conversation about it on...
when she lost all the...
there's a great conversation about it from the owner of Mega Babe. I just blanked on her name. But she talked about it. So there was an article released by Vogue about how she lost all that weight to fit into that dress. Like sweatsuit, didn't eat sugar, like all these crazy things. So now there's young girls that are now choosing to put that on and then going to feel shame and guilt and pressure, which will then turn into anxiety. And then they're going to feel that they're lonely, which is still a lower level of depression. Yeah. So then they're 11, 12 dealing with this. Me, 11, 12 dealing with this. Mm-hmm. You compound that over life's pressures. Mm-hmm. Maybe they get assaulted. Yeah. Maybe some other things happen. Maybe they were already conditioned to have anxiety and depression. Mm-hmm. It's already in their genetics. Well, now society just made it even worse. Yeah, and people will say it's up to them to read the Vogue article. Yeah, but it's also up to Vogue to stand and have balls to not post something like that.
And then also just the glitz and the glam that came from her wearing that to the Met. And that's why sometimes, you have done a very tremendous job of detaching from your phone and turning off some social media. But sometimes random people would say, like, hey, did you see the Met Galas last night? And I'm just like, no. Like, that brings no...
And the thing with the Met, it brings no value. That's what you're going to say. Sorry to cut you off. But the thing with the Met is it was created to be an artistic expression. And
now it's about what you wear.
But even that, it was supposed to be nods to the 20s, 30s. I can't remember what it was this year. But every year it has something so that fashion can intertwine with art, and it can be an expression of art. There was another option for Kim. Kim has millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. She did not have to wear the exact same Marilyn Monroe dress.
Yeah. No,
she did.
And she did. Yeah.
Why not have a replica made? Just like she did when she was Selena for Halloween. She had a replica made. She didn't go get Selena's dress. Also, who in their right mind let Kim Kardashian wear a historical piece of fashion?
It's about money.
That needs to be on a mannequin for people
to... And she wrote the check.
Right. And I understand that. But at the same time, that's degrading to Marilyn Monroe.
It's degrading to the legacy. It's degrading to all of it.
Right. And like that original creator. So you're dating mental health all the way back to that.
Yeah.
All the way back to that. Everything that we see, we're inundated everywhere. And you were mentioning how back in the day when Marilyn was around, she had mental health issues.
Yes, she did.
She died from overdosing. Still debatable, but she had mental health issues. Yes. If you haven't seen the documentary, it's fantastic. But she struggled with anxiety and depression and loneliness, which depression is the pit of loneliness.
Yes.
And she was molested as a child by her dad, and even thought about, if she ever saw him again, she would have him, molest her again and say, "Are you so proud of me?" Like, it was a very warped reality.
Yeah.
But then we put her on a pedestal to become a sex symbol, an iconic sex symbol, still to this day. And we expected her to be fine?
Yeah. And the thing about it is, it's something that, as we talk about, Mental Health Awareness Month, it's just so many different facets that it's honestly, it's exhausting to keep up with. How do you find help? How do you find the root of what's happening? Like, you don't want to detach yourself from the world, but you kind of have to if you want to really hit that mental reset for yourself. Because if you are especially through COVID and everything, has made it even different. If you're a 20-something or a 30-something and you're single, talk about a mental warp. And even if you say you have this huge friend group, but like when you go home,
doesn't matter,
and you are alone hypothetically, and you're trying to like walk through your day to day and walk through your life, you can't help but pull up your phone and wonder what if. You can't help but turn on a movie and start going down that dark place.
I mean, but we were created to have companionship. If you think back to even the earliest civilizations, notice that I said civilizations. We're talking about villages as a parent. Like, you have to have a village around you. Of course you do. It used to be, your parents and like a plethora of family, and that was your village. And so that's how we were created, for companionship. And what 2020 did was rob people of that. And then you're now putting a device in between you and people, and it's giving you the fixation,
the false
hit that you've actually had a reaction with them,
and it's not,
but you haven't. So then at the end of the day, you still feel lonely, and you're still. My biggest struggle through mental health is, but who am I? And I still struggle with that. But literally, who am I? Outside of being a wife, a mom to 2 kids, who am I? And I've been in therapy consistently for almost 2 years, and I still don't know that I can define that answer. Because I feel and was raised that you are the work path you've defined. And that, for me, has been a moving target. Because largely, when you look back over my years of professional experience, largely it's because of my mental health. I hit a breaking point in my mental health, and I run away. And, like, I have fight or flight. in my head. I'm like, and that's it. I'm out. I'm gone. It's happened with Steven before. I haven't left, but like I have to tell him, I want to run away. I want to run away. And so how do you figure out who you are other than somebody that just runs away and wants to reinvent themselves constantly?
Yeah, and that's something that is so important for people to know, that in this day and what you have going on, not you as a person, but people have things going on, it's almost tricking your body into going into this survival mode, and it really might not need to be in it, but the way your mind is telling you to be in it based on your fight or flight, based on your fears, based on your anxiety, your body is really never at rest. It is really never able to not be fighting off something.
Yeah.
And even when you go on a vacation, you're already thinking about, all right, when I get back, what do I have to do? Or you might have, if you take a week off, maybe that Tuesday, Wednesday, you might actually be at peace, but then that Thursday hits you like, all right, I gotta go home and do this, and this. Because the world has put us in this constant rat race. And I was recently reading an article about cortisol for men.
Did you know that I sell makeup? Not only do I sell makeup, but the makeup that I sell is 3D makeup, which allows you to highlight and contour your face in a super simple compact. As a mom, I could not survive without my simplified routine. Not only that, but it's exactly what you need. Exactly when you need it, all in one spot. Go ahead and check out Alana Mizell on Instagram or alanamizell.com to learn more.
Cortisol is produced in men based on like...
It's produced in all people.
More
so in men.
In men, it drives up when you are in a fear and anxiety state.
Yeah.
But back in the...
Because it's generated from if a predator was coming to get you.
Yes.
Our brains are millions of years old, you guys.
Yes.
So it's saying a saber-toothed tiger is going to come kill you.
Yeah, you have to run. And then the saber-toothed tiger goes away, you're supposed to
your
come
cortisol
back
can come back down.
But for nowadays, cortisol is all the way up and producing and actually slowing down so many other things in your body because you're never turning it down.
It's never turned down.
Yeah.
Except for when you're a child.
Yeah.
And like that's only situational. Because some children get their cortisol spiked from a young age and never lose it.
Yeah.
And so that can also trigger high testosterone levels or low testosterone levels in men. For women, it can do the same thing, which can then send off an inflammatory response, which can trigger or set off your anxiety, which is also strongly connected to PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it's just a cycle.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle, and that is a hormone that is very, very hard to detect. Very hard to detect. And you can overput cortisol into your body too. And it's not one of those, like magnesium is one of those supplements that you can take and your body says, I got enough, and it will deplete it.
Yeah.
Depletes it onto your skin. It kind of looks like you have salt all over your skin. Yeah. Cortisol is not like that. And at the same time, it's all of our social media was created so that your cortisol is firing at all cylinders all the time. So that you're getting a hit. So that it's a similar receptor to a hit of drug. The caffeine that we were talking about me being addicted to. Y'all, it's the same thing. If you notice that you grab your phone first thing in the morning, you flip it up and you click on Instagram. This is me.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
It's fine.
We're recognizing it.
We're working on it. I've come a long way.
Yeah.
But if I check that before I check anything else, it's my instinctual response.
Yeah.
Then I have cortisol firing because your instinct as a predator is to run.
Yeah.
So if it's getting on the same level as you waking up, you breathing, you eating, that's when you realize you've got a problem. And then it's probably going to go into, I am now defining myself through this thing that I'm addicted to.
Yeah.
Which, if you are defining yourself as a thing that is not authentically who you are, then you have mental health issues.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be diagnosable. I have anxiety, I have depression like I do. But I think that every person hits levels of anxiety. throughout their life.
Yeah.
When would you say was the first time you realized that you had a panic attack or an anxiety break? And Stephen is a person who typically is not anxious.
I would say, honestly, man, I don't think you knew this, but I think the first time I really had like a panic and like, okay, what do I need to do and not be honest with you about it just because I didn't want it to hinder us. It was probably soon after our honeymoon wedding, like coming back and knowing that, I mean, as a man, you just think you're the sole provider. I mean, it's something you don't know. Even if you're not, you just have this thought. And wanting to also, like she said earlier, claim that I wanted to be Jesus and just take care of everything.
Yeah.
When we got back, a couple weeks after, I was like, okay, we took this trip. It was great. But we also just bought a house. We just furnished a house. We paid for some of our wedding. But I don't want to let her down. Oh my goodness, what are we going to do? And it was not anything like very close or like anything outrageous, but I felt that angst like, oh man,
I gotta fix it.
This is something that I've never felt before, but I put, as I talked through it, I put that pressure on myself.
Yeah.
I put the pressure of the honeymoon, the things that we had to do. And just to be honest with you guys,
things that we had to do. Who said we had to do them?
Oh, I think society said. A lot of society says you're supposed to have a honeymoon. It's supposed to be elaborate.
That, and you and I never sat down and said.
Oh, we never did.
Not one time, y'all. Did we say, maybe we don't buy a house right now, or maybe we don't go on a honeymoon, or maybe we spend the whole week as a honeymoon at our new house that we just bought.
Yes.
The conversations we would have 11 years later. Like those are the conversations we would have been healthier for us to have.
We went to IKEA to get stuff for the house.
Yeah.
It's just like, but it goes back to society and also, I'm going to just call it like it is. I was a little bit older and I found my young, what do you call it, tenderoni, and I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm smitten with this Alana Marie, and I was just like, I can't let her down. I can't tell her she can't have a honeymoon. She deserves it. I can't do this.
And I think what's so beautiful about what you're saying is so much of our anxiety, and this happened to me last week, my therapist.
I mean, she helped me out too. I appreciate Rachel.
Yeah, she's my girl. She helps everybody out. She calls it dress rehearsing for tragedy. And the reason you're dress rehearsing is because tragedy only happens once.
Yeah.
A dear friend of mine got in a car accident and died. That is a tragedy that happened one time. Did I have to grieve her? Absolutely. Yeah. That's residual. But I can't go through life now concerned that everybody's going to get in a car accident.
Yeah.
Do I? Sometimes. Yes, absolutely. Is it an instinctual fear? If I don't hear from Steven, he's driving somewhere, that he's in a car wreck and nobody knows? Yeah. But for me to constantly think about that would be anxious thoughts. Did I run those anxious thoughts for years after? Yes.
Yeah.
But when we're dress rehearsing for tragedy, you were dress rehearsing for me to feel let down. But what you didn't know, because we weren't close enough yet, was that my love language is quality time, has nothing to do with buying things.
Nothing at all.
Nothing. Would have been happy as a clam spending the whole week
I'm going to keep it a buck with you guys. I didn't really learn that until like year 7, 8, and I'm just now practicing it now.
I don't think I learned it till year 7 or 8. To eat that, for you to understand what your love language is and what truly makes you feel better, makes you feel grounded, makes you feel the most yourself, you have to at least know some of yourself.
Ooh.
Because what you just said, I would have said my love language is gifts.
Yeah.
Because the world says, get a big diamond ring, have a big wedding, get a house, go on a honeymoon, yada, 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 yada. Like, things. The bigger the birthday party when your 1-year-old turns 1, the better.
Yeah.
All those things are just putting layer and layer of anxiety. So until you peel back all those layers, you don't actually know what your love language is.
Whew.
You probably have to think back to what you feel like you were missing from your parents. Now, I would tell you that is probably your love language.
Yeah.
And not because your parents meant to do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But because you feel like that is the one thing that they didn't do.
Yeah.
Which is what you need more of now.
Yeah. You're right.
But the less you get it, the more anxious you feel. Or the more you're dress rehearsing for tragedy.
Yeah.
So Stephen thought my love language was gifts.
Yep. Things, items.
Things, materialism, which I am very materialistic at times. Gotten better over the years. But what that did was had him dress rehearse for tragedy, that I needed all these things. And then came back and still had tragedy happening because he didn't want to talk to me about it. And has never talked to me about it.
No.
We have talked about similar scenarios.
Yes.
But not until you've dress rehearsed that it's going to be a problem.
Yeah. You're right. No, you're right. And so it's one of those things where I love talking about these topics. And there's so many things that, if you listen to our podcast, we talk about and just let you guys into our scope and our vision of how we're able to work through these and continue to grow. Because we don't have the answers.
I have a question for you. What would you say if somebody were to say, who is Stephen? Like, do you feel like you know who you are?
Yes. No. I mean, if someone was to say, who is Stephen, like on an interview question or like just someone that like...
No, just like, do you feel like you know yourself?
I would say on a percentage out of 100%, I'm probably about 70% there. 70%.
That's huge.
And in that 70% is compassion, it's caregiver, it's
I think it's also one of those that if you're put in a situation, do you feel like you can stand on your own 2 feet without the impact of other people? If you're at a dinner table with 5 of your favorite, most influential people.
Can I get up and walk away if something happens?
No. And you have an opinion that differs. Could you voice it?
Yes. And the reason I can...
Who were the 5 people?
Oh my gosh. Like you talking about my dinner party thing? Like if I had 5 people sitting around the room?
Because I think that's going to dictate if you really could stand up.
I mean, is this realistic or is it like...
Here's why I say that.
Okay.
Because when people really know themselves...
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's at the table. Because their value, no matter if those people stay or go, is so true to themselves.
Yes.
And so true to how God made them that they know it. You guys, I'm saying all this in hopes of getting there one day.
And I truly believe no matter who's at that dinner table, if there is something voiced out there in this current season of my life.
They all say Roe vs. Wade needs to be overturned. What do you do?
I mean, that's a whole other podcast. But at the end of the day, if I am sitting at a table and it is something that I am passionate about that impacts me, my family, whatever, I can get up and walk away. I can get up and state my opinion and move on because I feel I have been through the ringer. I've been through the frustration of being quote unquote doubted and forgotten, and where I am right now. I am confident in where I am right now, but I feel that because of all, I have you. I have our family, and that means so much to me. And I know that those 5 people, yes, I might lose a job. I might not get the job I want, but at the end of the day, I have my family and I have my values. And would Stephen say this 2 years ago? Probably not. I would have finagled my way to either kind of agree with them and not upset them. But right now, where I am and what we have been through, and our conversation has brought us closer, I could easily get up in that circle and say, you know what, that's cute, guys, but I can't rock with that, or I'm going to state my opinion and move forward from it.
See, at a table, I think I could do the same because the opinions of others don't matter quite as much to me. But remove my family and ask me who I am, I can't answer that.
I get that. I can see that.
I just can't. And maybe I wasn't designed to.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe God made me so that I don't know the difference of that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys, those are the things that you struggle with when you go through mental health, and not everybody's journey is like mine. Most people's probably is not.
No.
I think a lot of people are like Stevens, that, they've never been exposed to what anxiety and depression looks like, and then 2020 hit you like a ton of bricks. Or you got married and you realized you wanted to be able to provide all these things, but really what you need to be doing is having a conversation with your spouse or your potential spouse about things that you can and cannot do, or different ways to come about to the same solution.
And that is a piece of advice for all of our newly married young couples who are less than 5 years in. Have the meaningful conversation. Erase the superficial, put the cell phones down, put the Netflix down, and build that, because
I think that goes with friendships too.
I mean, friendships too, but I feel like a lot of couples go through the whole song and dance, and then they find themselves 3 years in.
Even at work. I spent last Monday panicking. Literally had the first panic attack I've had in a long time.
Yeah.
Dress rehearsing for tragedy.
Without having a conversation
without having a conversation with my boss.
Yeah.
Got on the phone with her. She talked me off the ledge.
Super chill.
And I was fine. She hasn't brought it up since. We haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
If you are where you're supposed to be in your job and in your work, that's how it's going to go.
Yeah.
And you don't need to dress rehearse for tragedy. I say that, as I'll probably do it again. But, you know what I mean? I had to have that conversation with her, or else my anxiety was going to derail and spiral the rest of the week.
I agree. I definitely see what you're saying. And
So I think it's having the conversation, although it feels uncomfortable. Anytime you get that gut feeling, have the conversation with whomever it is, especially your spouse. It will be so worth it on the other side.
Agreed. Well, thanks, guys.
So if you guys are enjoying this, definitely leave us a review. Give us the feedback. If there's something you guys want us to talk about, reach out to us on our website at themizellshow.com. There is a contact section. You can put it in there. We would love to hear about it. Or you can always go over to Instagram at The Mizell Show. Also, as always, don't forget to screenshot this episode and just add it to your stories and tag us on Instagram, on Facebook at The Mizell Show. Thanks, guys. Are you loving The Mizell Show? Well, we love you all. And did you know that you can have me and Steven talk to your team or a group of 25 of your friends? All it takes is 25 people showing up on either a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, or really anywhere. Hopefully in person sooner rather than later. But how do you get us? So all you have to do is email themizellshow@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram at The Mizell Show.